is the universe made of? Many scientists are saying that the universe is fundamentally just information, quantum information, and it is acting like a quantum supercomputer processing its own evolution.
The fact that the universe at bottom is processing information, computing in a uniquely quantum mechanical way is in some sense uncontroversial. Though when I make this argument, it always seems to cause controversy, so I don't know why this is so. But yeah, so in fact, when we're building quantum computers, it's not like we're starting from scratch and saying, oh, we have these darn quanta and they're not computing, they can't do anything, let's make them compute. That's not the way it works. It's more that the universe itself is already processing information at this microscopic level all the time. And when we build a quantum computer, we're just kind of coming in and hijacking the ongoing computation to make it compute something that we would like it to compute rather than what it would normally be computing.
What is consciousness?
What is consciousness? What is consciousness?
And why do we have it? Where did it come from?
The idea of consciousness is, how can you get some kind of explanation of consciousness wholly in terms of processes in the brain? I mean, in so many other fields, physical explanation has been successful. We've explained chemistry in terms of physics, and biology in terms of chemistry, and even quite a few bits of psychology in terms of biology, and so on. So it's natural to hope it might work for consciousness too. But there seems to be this big gap in the case of consciousness. No matter how complicated the system of neurons you're looking at and how complex their interactions, it's just very hard to see how this kind of interaction is going to give you subjective experience.
So far, science has come up empty with explaining how and why experience emerges from dead matter. It is called simply quantum consciousness.
A lot of faith in microtubules already, but it's indicating that there is something fundamentally quantum mechanical which you simply can't explain by classical ideas.
What are some strange characteristics of quantum mechanics could we possibly see relating to the workings of mind? The one thing that many researchers in the field of quantum consciousness points to is entanglement. But what is quantum entanglement?
Now, let's assume these coins become entangled. They're still spinning. Finally, one lands. You see that it's heads. Now you know that the other coin, whenever it lands, will be tails. Guaranteed. The coins, or particles, aren't communicating. One doesn't call up the other one and tell it to land tails. Instead, they're like two parts of a whole, with a shared history and a mysterious, inexplicable cosmic connection. That's the magic of quantum entanglement.
But is quantum consciousness possible? Is it possible that our consciousness is non-local and can exhibit quantum phenomena like entanglement? The main argument against the quantum mind hypothesis is the assertion that quantum states in the brain would lose quantum coherency before they reached a scale where they could be useful for neural processing. This is the case because it is assumed that the brain generates consciousness, but we must look beyond the brain, even beyond the level of neurons.
Very exciting. I think it's essential to study the brain. The answer is not entirely microtubules. We have to know how the brain is organized and the anatomy and the physiology of the brain. But I think it would be a mistake to focus exclusively on neurons as the most basic fundamental level. We have to go deeper inside neurons.
There is a brand new field emerging that combines biology and quantum mechanics, simply called quantum biology. Scientists are revealing startling new evidence that biology exploits quantum processes in nature. This despite the warm and noisy aspects of biological systems such as the brain.
Quantum biology asks a very simple question. Does quantum mechanics, that weird and wonderful and powerful theory of the subatomic world, of atoms and molecules, that underpins so much of modern physics and chemistry, also play a role inside the living cell? In other words, are there processes, mechanisms, phenomena in living organisms that can only be explained with a helping hand from quantum mechanics? In the last 10 years, there have been experiments emerging showing where some of these certain phenomena in biology do seem to require quantum mechanics. And I want to share with you just a few of the exciting ones. This is one of the best known phenomena in the quantum world, quantum tunneling. The box on the left shows the wave-like spread out distribution of a quantum entity, a particle, like an electron, which is not a little ball bouncing off a wall. It's a wave that has a certain probability of being able to permeate through a solid wall, like a phantom leaking through to the other side. You can see a faint smudge of light in the right-hand box. Quantum tunneling suggests that a particle can hit an impenetrable barrier and yet somehow, as though by magic, disappear from one side and reappear on the other. That quantum coherence takes place inside bacteria carrying out photosynthesis. The idea is that the photon, the particle of light, the sunlight, the quantum of light, captured by a chlorophyll molecule, is then delivered to what's called the reaction center, where it can be turned into chemical energy. And in getting there, it doesn't just follow one route, it follows multiple pathways at once to optimize the most efficient way of reaching the reaction center without dissipating as waste heat.
And the other theory is that we smell molecular vibrations. Now, this is a totally insane idea. And when I first came across it in the early 90s, I thought my predecessor, Malcolm Dyson and Bob Wright, had really taken leave of their senses, and I'll explain to you why this was the case.
So, if quantum effects actually take place in nature, then how could quantum effects relate to the human mind? Is this even possible?
The experiments that Anirban Bandyopadhyay has been doing over the last several years certainly add a big boost to what we've been doing, because they tell us that their microtubules do behave in ways that cannot be explained classically. I mean, the way they conduct electrical signals seems to be very unusual, and the kind of thing which clearly involves quantum mechanical principles.
I don't think we'll have a chance of understanding the mind-body problem without quantum mechanics. And I'll try to show you we need it for hope for free will, and I'm going to argue that consciousness is associated with quantum measurement, and I wind up advocating a kind of panpsychism. Quantum biology is now an exploding field. We do not know how far quantum biology goes.
The European robin migrates from Scandinavia down to the Mediterranean every autumn, and like a lot of other marine animals and even insects, they navigate by sensing the Earth's magnetic field. Now, the Earth's magnetic field is very, very weak. It's 100 times weaker than a fridge magnet, and yet it affects the chemistry somehow within a living organism. That's not in doubt. A German couple of ornithologists, Wolfgang and Roswitha Wilczko, in the 1970s confirmed that indeed the robin does find its way by somehow sensing the Earth's magnetic field to give it directional information, a built-in compass. The puzzle, the mystery was, how does it do it? With it. Two quantum entangled electrons within a single molecule dance a delicate dance that is very sensitive to the direction the bird flies in the Earth's magnetic field. That life has evolved tricks that utilize the quantum world.
Back in 2013, Stuart Hameroff authored a study based on some predictions that his quantum theory of the brain should result. He used ultrasound vibrations for stimulating the microtubules in the brain. The tests were successful and gave his theory of quantum mind a huge boost. Dr. Stuart Hameroff said, "This suggests TUS may stimulate natural megahertz resonances in brain microtubules, enhancing not only mood and conscious mental states, but perhaps also microtubule functions in synaptic plasticity." But the more we look at the issue, the more we really realize that the typical assumptions are always being called into question. Perhaps the problem is that by looking at consciousness as a thing separate from other things, we get misled into an illusion. By premising our discrimination between mind and matter, we set ourselves up for making a fundamental mistake. Perhaps you cannot take mind out of reality, and you cannot take reality out of mind.
In science, many scientists still believe that consciousness and the object of consciousness are two distinctive things. That there is a consciousness, the subjective mind is in here, and is reaching out in order to understand nature, the world of reality outside. In Buddhism, that is the greatest mistake. That is called in Buddhism the dual grasping, double grasping. Consciousness is always consciousness of something. So if you believe that consciousness is something that can exist separately from the object of consciousness, you are wrong. You cannot take the subject out of the object. You cannot take the object out of subject. They lean to each other in order to manifest. And if our mind is caught in dualism, we have no chance to touch the ultimate. The discrimination between matter and mind is also a basic mistake. But quantum mechanics now has begun to see that mind is linked to reality in such a way that you cannot take mind out of reality, and you cannot take reality out of mind.
Reality is unified, and therefore it is connected. And it may even be conscious at some level and in some way. We are unique expressions of an infinite universe. We are not only part of this universe, we are the universe expressing and experiencing itself.